Will Narduzzi. Nardizzle.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome aboard to Truckin' On. Here we are. Have I met you in person before?
No. I feel like we admired one another from afar.
We do. And I feel like I know you and I've met you before just because you've been on all of Jeremy's podcasts.
Yeah.
And we communicate pretty regularly on the social medias.
Yeah.
And now we figured out we live 8 minutes away from each other.
Exactly.
Kind of ridiculous. We've never met.
You know, you don't know who lives in East Dallas. So Ward and I live in the East Dallas, like east of White Rock Lake. And there's tons of people who live over here and you just don't know. Until you kind of just connect and get into it. So.
Yeah, it's a great neighborhood. I grew up in Lakewood, which is, my parents still live there, and it's probably like a sub 10-minute drive from here to get over there. I did not know this neighborhood I live in now existed until COVID, when I had to go look for a house in 75218 to keep my kids in the same school, and we were moving. And then I was just driving around and like, whoa, this is a cool little pocket I did not know exists. That was like 10 minutes from where I grew up for 20 years, you know, like, it's crazy. So, and there's all these little pockets, like you're in Lake Highlands, and I don't know what to call this. I just call it East Dallas because it's not Forest Hills. It's not Old Lake Highlands. I
think if you go a little bit further northeast from here, it's called Lockwood.
Yeah, it's not Lockwood.
But it's not.
Yeah, it's not Casa View. We're like kind of on an island here, but I just call it East Dallas.
Yeah.
Well, it's firmly planted in East Dallas.
Correct.
So I love it over here. Great to have you here. I really started knowing you on the interwebs when you joined Matador.
Yeah.
And started working with Jeremy Mercer, Truckin' On podcast guest. And you've been doing his or y'all's weekly market update podcast for how long now?
I think we're on episode number 52 plus whatever amount of weeks we've got this year. So call it 60 to 65, somewhere in there.
Do you do it weekly?
We do it weekly. Every Monday we record somewhere between like no earlier than 9:45 a.m. Central Time to no later than like 11:30. So just try to catch it right in the middle between Monday morning meetings and all that. And by then the market's starting to roll. We can catch some good data. The weekend's still fresh with all the fun stuff we did.
Yeah.
And we just bomb it all over the podcast.
So we're not going to discuss this later. So I want to know right now on February 20th, 2025, give me your hot take on the market.
Broken.
Yeah.
Everything's broken. Yeah.
Say more.
It's the world's broken and confused.
Yeah.
I just think everything's mispriced, genuinely.
Too high?
Too high, yeah.
Yeah.
I think stock market's too high. This is not investment advice. But no, I think stock market's too high. Real estate's still kind of in a wonky spot. We're really picky. I don't know if you've dived into with Jeremy how we kind of look at stuff, but
do you think you've gotten pickier since you've gotten into the game of buying buildings? Because you bought a lot of buildings.
Yeah,
so I feel like at first it was kind of like throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks, and now it's more sniper rifle.
Correct.
Like since the market shifted in 2023, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, my friend Chris Cummings, who I need to get on the podcast, he's a broker in Atlanta. Yeah. And last year I was talking to him. I said, what do you think about the market? He goes, it's bipolar, schizophrenic, and fucked up.
Yeah. And there's tons of window shopping right now with tenants. I'm not sure if you're seeing that with your clients, but they're like, yeah, let's go tour. And so we've got 3 or 4 vacancies right now, single tenant with some yard. You'd think, hey, these are in great spots. Done. Like no more than 6 months. 6 months, 2 months free, boom, we're leased. And we're kind of getting past that with no LOIs. And they're priced well. We're within market if you look at comps and all that, but a lot of window shopping. So I think Trump being in is probably good. I don't know, but like it takes time to kind of bleed through all these things that people do, whether for good or for worse, whether you like them or you don't. It just takes time. And so there's been a lot of gut checks with people, a lot of hard pivots, a lot of just irrational decision making. But treasuries are still kind of up. And I kind of have, I'm kind of a pessimist. I have this contrarian view that I think rates are going to go back up.
Yeah. I have a feeling that we're going to see a big correction, and that's coming this year, next year, the year after. I don't know when, but I feel like we've got to see that. I'll say that I am hopeful about the Trump administration. I was more hopeful. I don't like how he gets into office and all the changes that he, like all these radical changes, the way he delivers the news of the changes that are going on and what he's doing is done in such an insensitive manner that it's just so abrasive. It's, I have a friend group that is far and wide ranging. And I'd say politically divided. I don't hang out with that many political radicals, period, but it's divided between the left and the right. Being a professional musician through my 20s and going to Brown University, a liberal arts college, like that pocket of people in my life is like very liberal. And then being a commercial real estate broker for 20 years, very right leaning, you know? And they're all people I love who are smart and I respect. And most of them are pretty level headed through this whole thing, but watching, I look at this all from kind of a bird's eye view where I'm not fully committed to anything politically. Like I just am here for the ride and try to make the best of what we have. But it's just the way, my left leaning friends are really suffering right now, and they're in a state of fear because of kind of the insensitivity with his approach to his politics. Is what he's doing great? Like it seems like some things are good, but just the way he's delivering it is, I think it could be done better, and I think it's putting a lot of fear in the people of this country that like everyone that wasn't on his side. It's like, I'm here now, you're fucked kind of mentality. And it's like, dude, why not just be like, I won, you're going to be glad that I won, and watch, I'm going to take great care of this country instead of like, I'm coming after you. And that's what he's doing.
Around and
it's
find
like,
out.
yeah. And I mean, that's just not surprising, but it would have been a nice surprise if he was became like at least like the type. I saw someone post a video of Barack Obama. It's like, God, why? I wish like Trump just like could give speeches and communicate like Obama did. Sure. Do your policies, but communicate like a gentleman and a scholar and a president of the United States.
Correct.
And
I agree, man.
So
I agree.
That's going to have an impact on this world we're living in, I think. And it is already. And there's so much change happening, and he's breaking down a system that I think needs to be broken down and changed. But the way it's happening is, he leads through polarity, and it works for him. And, but I think if you're smashing down something with a wrecking ball versus taking it apart brick by brick, methodically, like then you're going to be causing some fucked up shit to happen that you maybe didn't even intend to along the way, but it seems like it's just being done in a haphazard manner. And I'm like, there's already enough crazy shit going on in the world, and then this on top of it, it seems like the perfect storm for a big ass correction. And I'm holding cash. I'm trying to stockpile cash and be ready to seize the opportunity. I'm not like super aggressively like looking for deals right now. And whenever it's almost autopilot. Like if I get sent a deal, like, nah, I want to wait and see. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I think, well, simply, something I've learned in the rooms is nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And
Right.
so nothing's changed for a while in our country, regardless, over the last 10 to 15 years. The manner in which things are occurring right now is, I don't think, ideal, but I don't know what the right answer is, right? So
For sure.
Is it doing it the way he's doing it? Don't know. Is it to be more brick by brick and a little bit more surgical? Would it be better? Probably. But at the same time, there's been no discipline. There's been no really good there's been really no systematic deployment of any policies. It's been kind of just a pissing in the wind, I think, for the last, even with his first term, like just kind of haphazard.
Yeah.
The whole thing's been haphazard for a decade. And so I think we're just kind of on this path, and I call it the Ozempic. Elon Musk is Ozempic. He is this pill, this medicine we are forced to just digest because we can't. It's like what you said on your last episode. I love bread. I love ice cream. Like one day at a time. I can't do this today. Like, we don't have that. It is just take out the money gun and just spend it. And now we got a guy who's our president who's like, look, I'm forcing you to do all this, like it or not.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Sometimes it's necessary. I don't know. We'll see kind of what happens here. But I think the right way is like, hey, guys, we're kind of fat and not happy. So let's get happy by getting less fat. Let's go on a treadmill and let's go on a diet and let's pay down the debt. And let's all kind of come together and logically think through this. Like, what's good, what's bad, and move programmatically through it. The thing is though, is that these jobs, they're all egomaniacs.
Yeah.
Anybody with a sound mind does not want these roles.
Right.
So we're dealing with fucked up people. They're damaged.
Yeah. Either side of the aisle.
Both.
Yeah.
They're all. There's I had a buddy who said, commented on some issue. And I was like, dude, if you went to Washington or any state legislature, these people all got voted in. But if you talk to them in private, the position you're talking about, 99 out of 100 of them, even though they publicly are for it, they don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
They just said it because they need a job. It pays the bills. They're scamming us. They're not scamming us. I don't know. So, but I think it just is what it is. If we would just be a little bit more selective in who represents us, like just good, normal people, either side of the aisle, I think like 70% of America is in the middle. Most people don't realize because they don't talk to each other because of these things now.
Yeah.
That we're more alike than we're not.
Yeah.
For sure. Then you have fringe. You always have fringe. That's always there.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I just started taking guitar lessons yesterday.
Guitar?
Yep.
You don't play?
I've never had a lesson.
Okay.
So I'm self-taught,
okay.
And I just play really I can play chords, on a guitar. I was a bass player,
okay,
and I didn't really take a bass lesson either, but I figured it out watching some VHS tapes back in the day. But I decided this year, I wanted to really learn how to play guitar properly, and this instructor I have is super great, and from what I can tell from our first lesson. But one thing he said is when it comes to practicing, because I'll meet with him every other week, but supposed to be practicing every day. He's like, practicing for 10 minutes a day versus a 5-hour block once a week is better. And that's what Trump's doing right now is just wreck it all instead of this consistent, disciplined approach, which I think all successful people that I know, that's how they approach life, is in these small, consistent, persistent steps to take along the way and living in balance. And that's correct. What, and I read the Tao Te Ching almost every day. You probably see me post it on Instagram. And that has such great advice on political leadership and how a leader should lead, the people, and it's like basically like for the people to not know who the leader is a great leader, a sign of a great leader, because they're happy and they're not thinking about it. But yeah, when the leader starts to call attention to themselves, then and rule by fear or war or things like that, like it's never going to be a good. It's just going to have this. It's going to create fear among the people, you know?
That makes sense.
And not love.
Yeah. I think you could probably appreciate this too. I think there's not a lot of spiritual awareness in the country either. Spirituality, not religion, two separate things. The spiritual basis of this country is broken.
For sure.
And in my opinion, that is the base. And we need to fix that. If you want to layer in religion with all that, cool. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But spirituality and being intentional about it is really absent in the majority of the population. And that's kind of speaking to what you just said. Like, there's chaos. There's just chaos. If you go back to when our grandparents were around, everybody was religious and spiritual. They had to be, because like shit was fucked up.
Yeah,
like
that's right, and that's what happens. It's kind of like the Tao. Like you're gonna be really spiritual because shit's really fucked up, and then things will not be fucked up, and then you'll stop being disciplined with your relationship with God, and then things start getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the other side of the spectrum, which is where we are now.
Correct.
However, I'm extremely spiritual now. So and I know you are too. And
try to be.
That's all we can do to like pull the collective consciousness back to this side, is to have these conversations and to behave in a spiritually sound manner and recognize that's the most important thing. And that keeps me sane and in a state of peace, and why I don't fear anything that anyone's doing because of my relationship with God. So I've got faith in God that what will happen will need to happen. And I know it's very simple rules to follow, the rules of God. And those are pretty easy to stick to.
Yeah.
And once you start doing it, anything outside of that starts to seem like a place where you don't want to go anymore, and a place that I once ruled the lands of, the chaos lands versus the peace lands. But yeah, and it's going to happen, or the world will implode. To quote one of my favorite songwriters, Brent Best, he goes, "It'll choke on its own tongue, die of its own thirst." And
that's about right.
Yeah. But let's hope not. So let's move on to your life and tell me, Will, what life was like age 12 to 22. Where were you? What happened during those years of your life?
Those years of my life. I heard that question on multiple episodes. Like you asked, now I'm realizing I listened to Greg Gordon one too. He's a mutual friend of ours. Greg's a great guy. I love him.
Yeah, he is. He just got a bass and asked me for bass lessons.
Really?
I said, dude, you don't want to learn from me. I've got bad habits.
Yeah, I'm fucked up.
Yeah, I'm fucked up. Go hire some. I said, I just hired this company to teach me how to play guitar. Hire them.
Yeah. 12 to 22 or 24?
Whatever.
That time, you go through puberty at that time pretty much.
That's right.
And I grew up in a very religious house.
Catholic?
Catholic, very Catholic. I went to mass every day with my mother.
It is Narduzzi, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Big Italian Catholic American family in North Jersey. And went to mass probably 6 days a week with my mom. Religious altar boy. I had 4 brothers. One of my brothers was with me for my entire life. Pretty much we went to high school together, college together. I mean, inseparable.
What's the age gap?
We're 17 months apart.
Okay.
So, not technically Irish twins, but
pretty close.
As close as you can get.
Yeah.
On the surface, excellent. My dad was a high-powered high-powered sales executive in the insurance business. He's always kind of run his own life, health, and disability practice, and he did very well for himself. Our life in that time period was without want.
Right.
I always had this thing though, right around that time where I just felt uncomfortable in my skin. I just like right around that middle school age, early high school, I felt like I fit in, but didn't. Was always trying to like get in with the cool kids because I wanted to be a cool kid, and it just led to a lot of uncomfortableness all the time within my own skin at a very early age. Mm-hmm. And but I had a ton of fun. I went to all boys prep school, Seton Hall Prep, very similar to Jesuit. So like,
sorry, where was it?
In New Jersey.
Okay,
so West Orange area.
Okay.
So, if where I grew up in West Orange, if you stood on top of my house, you took down all the trees, you can see Manhattan. Okay. So probably like
northern New Jersey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 11 miles right outside the city as the bird flies, and so 10 to 15 minutes from Newark Airport. Have you seen Sopranos?
Yeah.
That whole area that they shoot the whole thing, that's where I grew up.
Okay, got it.
So like, what the opening scene, like woke up that's the drive to my grandmother's house in Teaneck.
Yeah.
So
you could be a soprano.
I could be a soprano.
You could have been casted in that show.
Yeah. It's funny. Dan Spica was at our office yesterday. He's like, Narduzzi. That's a movie star's name. You know, it's just like, all right, then get out of here. Like, don't make me, don't inflate my ego. But
I see it now. Like I see the movie star qualities about you too. Like you got some Joe Pesci that you can kind of come out.
But yeah, no, grew up there. It was great. But I was just always really uncomfortable in my skin, man. I don't know why. It just was. And I did a lot. I caddied every summer hard. I worked out a little bit. I played football freshman and sophomore year of high school. My dad was a Division I AA football player. Always thought I had to go play football. I ended up swimming a lot and got pretty good at that. Loved baseball, but I didn't make the baseball team when I was in high school, and it crushed me.
I didn't either. I didn't make it in junior high.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
See, I stopped growing in the 8th grade. I was a big kid in middle school.
Okay.
I was the same size I am now.
Okay.
Which is kind of, I was a bigger kid. But all those things like oddly affected me. And I was thinking about this when I was coming out. I'm like, man, what the hell am I going to fucking talk about between 12 and 24? But so it's just kind of floating. I was that guy who was really smart but did no work and still got B's.
Yeah.
But then I would lose my shirt once in a while. Just get totally mowed down by a test, get super demoralized. Parents would just be like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? So,
I was very similar in that way.
I would cheat on tests, kind of round the corners out a little bit. But I loved working, man. I loved caddying. I would get up at like 6:30, get there immediately because it was right down the street. I was really dedicated to work. I hated school. I didn't like working out. I was good at sports, but didn't really enjoy it. I just did it because like I had to do it. It's like, hey, there were 6 kids. My parents were like, look, you need to be in activities.
Yeah.
Because if you have too much time in your hand, though, what they say, the idle time is the devil's playground. That was like a big thing in my house. And so we were constantly doing shit.
It's true.
And which is good for young boys. That's a good thing, man.
Yeah.
And so that was like up until college. And then I went to University of Dallas in Irving. That's how I ended up down here. So
what brought you there? That's pretty random.
It's a good Catholic school, phenomenal education. And so I applied to Fordham Catholic University. And there, I was thinking about going to Michigan State because my dad's brother was the defensive coordinator of the football team at that time. But my parents were like, dude, you're going to lose yourself. Because they could kind of see it coming. Like, this guy's a little...
You go to a party school and you're going to get partied out right out of school.
So UD gave me a good scholarship and small. There's like maybe 2,000 kids there. High tide, kids come and go.
What year did you go there?
I enrolled in the fall of 2011.
Okay.
So I went there and it was just fucking wheels off day 2.
Really?
Oh, dude, hard. I had started drinking a little bit at the end of high school, but nothing crazy. A lot of it was on the golf course. Like I would usually double loop, which is you do 18 holes. You come back for lunch. I pick up 2 bags like at 7 a.m., have lunch probably around like 11:30, get back out there at 1. By like halfway through the second round, you're having some beers to start smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And come home, and my mom would be like, man, you kind of smell funny. What's going on there? Oh, I was around these guys who were doing this, blah, 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 And then I go out and play or go see some friends and ride bikes, and, you come home, and it is what it is. But spent a lot of time in Manhattan in my later high school years. This is crazy. My parents would let us go to the city by ourselves.
Wow.
We go get NJ Transit tickets, roll up, grab some buddies.
Like when you're
17, 16,
senior,
17.
Senior high school?
Yeah, sometimes sophomore year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of freedom. And
what would you do?
So we were really involved with Opus Dei. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's this, it's not really a religious organization. It's a religious organization within the Catholic Church. And they did a lot of young men's groups, and they would bring in lawyers, doctors, investment banking guys once a month for just years. And so my parents enrolled us in these programs. And there's some spiritual aspects to it too. Like afterwards, like somebody come in and say, hey, yeah, I went to Brown University and I'm a commercial real estate broker. Here's how I got here. Like if you guys need internships or you're gonna shadow me for a day, like, contact me. It's like we had like a lot of good influence, and then we go to sit at Rosary, and there do be a meditation afterwards, and then we get let loose. They're like, okay, you can go home now, and you're like, well, it's 4:00 on a Saturday in April in New York City. Let's go have fun, and that's what we did. We go to museums, and then afterwards we find a bar that didn't ID you, and then have a couple of beers, and you take NJ Trans and go home.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
You thought it was cool to like walk up and down like, 7th Ave, ripping a heater,
So you felt awkward kind of around that time, like I think most people do.
Yeah.
Then when did you have your first encounter with alcohol where you're like, this feels good. This is helping the weirdness feeling go away? I would imagine that happened.
It was senior year.
Senior year of high school is when you realized this
I was like,
helps me feel good.
Yeah, this takes that itch away.
Yeah.
That little whatever that is.
Yeah.
That scratches that. And I remember like pushing it a little bit too far, not getting sick, like physically from it, but being like, that calms it. It's whatever's in there's done. That's cool. Let's do it again. But then my freshman year of college, it was like day 2. Dude, I was on the roof of one of the buildings at UD, really jacked up. CSO, campus safety's up there. It's funny. I talked my way out of that situation, man, because I didn't want my parents to find out. It was like a $200 violation for whatever I did. And I was like, hey, I can't pay that. What can I do to not pay it? Can I do something for you? And they said, well, the cop cars are dirty. Come and clean them every Saturday, 8 a.m. for the whole semester. So the whole semester I did that to get out of this ticket. And I ended up
deal for the DPD.
Oh yeah. So I clean cop cars every Saturday, regardless. I was hungover, just waking up, still up, and I became friends with all the campus safety guys.
What brought you onto the roof?
My good buddy who I grew up with was already at UD, and big Irish Catholic guy, and he's like, man, we can climb up the tree and get on the roof of Hager, and we can have a cigar up there. And I was like, that's sick, because you can see the downtown Dallas skyline there.
We're gonna go have a cigar. And
we had been drinking for hours, man.
Yeah.
And so he climbed up, and I remember looking at him. I've known this guy for probably a decade at that point. I'm like, I'm not climbing up that tree. I'm too liquored up. So I just went up through the fire escape like a normal human being. Instead of coming down because it's on fire, just go up. And I guess they caught me on video. And then we were sitting there dangling our feet, and I'm like, are you smoking a cigarette? Because I smell a cigarette. It's not a cigar. It's not a Black & Mild. And he's like, no. Turn around. There's some big cop sitting there. He's like, what are you guys doing up here? I'm like, oh, no. Here we go. So that's how college – and then college was just wheels off, man. It was
dude, I climbed up on the roof of the double wide.
What's a double wide?
It's a bar in downtown Dallas.
Oh, really?
In Deep Ellum. Have you never been?
I had never been. I love the Dares. It's still there. That was one of my favorite places to go and drink and hang out.
Yeah, I'm going to show you this picture I got up there.
Do you have a microphone in your hand?
I have a microphone in my hand.
It's great.
There you go, camera.
That's funny.
Anyway.
So
good times climbing on roofs, fucked
Yeah.
up. It's just a
good time.
It's one of our shared pastimes.
Yes,
it
yes.
sounds like.
So college was fun.
So you kept partying all the way through.
Oh yeah, hard.
Yeah.
Met my wife. She transferred in sophomore year. I studied abroad in Rome. Obviously big Italian American dude. Italy has a big place in my heart. I'm always constantly posting about it, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's just I have a dream that I'll move there one day. So I studied abroad in Rome. Studied art. I got a double degree in. I majored in economics and minored in art history. Met Emily there. College was fun. Then it was fun with consequences. And then senior year was just more consequences than fun. Just doing a lot of dumb stuff, getting in fights. School was really becoming a challenging thing to do. Ruining lots of friendships, relationships.
Really?
Yeah, like people were just like, man, I don't want to hang out with you. You're a dick. Like, you're not fun. You're embarrassing.
It's that point where it goes, you're funny, and then all of a sudden you're the only one that thinks you're funny.
Yeah, for probably about 18 months, that's why I thought I was like the fucking man.
And you think you're like a positive impact on society because you're so funny and crazy and wild, but you're really not, right?
No.
Oh yeah.
So
that's the worst.
College wrapped up, and it's funny.
But you graduated?
I did. I'll tell you this. So I got in a little bit of a tussle the beginning of last semester or senior year, and one of my best friends of all time. I didn't know him at the time, but I knew of him. He was there in our class, and he hadn't had a drink in a while. It was really early in the morning. It was probably like 3 or 4 in the morning, and we lived on the apartments off of Chemsearch Boulevard and Northgate. So, do you know that big distribution center do you know where the NCH headquarters is at, behind that new distribution center they put off of Story and Carl Road over there off of Irving, 183?
I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, so we lived in these shitty apartments over there, and there's a couple hundred students. So I just went to them. I was like, hey, man, I'm fucked up. I need help. Like, how are you not drinking? Like, can you help me?
You were aware this kid's not drinking. It's like that. It might have been at first like, that's weird. That guy doesn't drink.
Sure.
Like, everybody drinks.
Yeah. Especially in college.
Right.
Like, what else? You go to school, you hang out with your friends. Yeah. You're in a fraternity. You're doing some social, and then you drink. And so I just went to them, and I was like, hey, man, you need to help me. I don't know how you do it, but like, can you help me? He's like, sure. Meet me at 10 o'clock at this place, and I'm going to take you to a meeting. So I went to a meeting here in Lakewood. Yeah. I went to my first meeting then. And then, so senior year, second semester was really easy because I had people around me at that time, including this person and my buddy, and I just removed myself from all of it.
Did you quit drinking?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved out of my apartment. I moved back onto campus into a dorm room. So I went back with sophomores and juniors. Yeah. And the head of campus life, whatever, recognized like, oh man, this guy's like, he's got a problem. Let me help him. And so she's very generous. And she's like, I have one open studio. You can move in there by yourself so you don't have a roommate, and just fix yourself. And my dad at the time was like, man, if you come home, you are not going to finish. Like, just, I've been around life long enough, and I know you well enough that you're like 95% of the way there. You're not going to fail out. I was carrying probably around like a 2.8 GPA, 2.9. So like, not bad. It is what it is. And I crushed it that semester. I graduated. That semester I had like a pretty high GPA, graduated over a 3.0, really murdered it. And I was like, oh, this is what life's about, right? Like, this is good. I can stop going to parties and doing all that. And then I remember when I went home though at the end of the semester, I was looking at a job at either AIG or Chubb to be an underwriter because I wanted to get in the insurance business, and the role was in Manhattan. And I looked at my dad and my mom, and I'm like, I think the salary was probably like 90 to 100 grand, and I was going to live at home. and I was going to have all this money. And I looked at them. I'm like, if I start getting this paycheck every 2 weeks, I'm going to die. I'm going to die because I'm going to go back out there. I'm going to go back into the jungle. Now I got money. Like, I always had a little bit of money because I was a hustler, just, would sell shit, caddy. I always crushed it in the summer times, just flipping stuff.
Like $90K in Manhattan right out of college.
And then you're living at home.
You don't have to, you don't have any expenses. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's a free for all. and so we came up with the idea. I moved to Guatemala right after college, and I was doing service work down there.
Wow.
And
with the Catholic Church?
Yeah, with the Catholic organization called Quinal. And that group basically took guys, young men, out of the basurero, which is the garbage dump in Guatemala City. And they put them in training programs for Honda and Microsoft and Cisco networks. So you became a certified, depending on which one you wanted to do, you became a Honda certified auto mechanic, Cisco network certified, where you can just install systems and whatever that does, or you can do the same thing on Microsoft. And so you're taking kids who are living in the dump, drinking shitty water, eating trash as their subsistence, and then you're putting them in this environment. So I taught English there, which I hated. And then I was like, hey, you got to get me out of this, because I had like fourth graders just mocking me and just shitting all over me every day. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't teach these kids. It's just, I don't have that skill set. So I became like the PE teacher.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And then the wheels came off again.
Oh, really? In Guatemala?
Yeah, hard. Because I also wanted to learn Spanish. And so,
Pinche loco.
Yeah.
Pinche borracho.
So, yeah, borracho gringo. So
gringo loco.
I moved to Antigua, which is kind of like a little party city resort place. It's very beautiful. And they have amazing Spanish classes there. Like, you get a lot of education in a really quick time. The accents there are amazing. You can just learn. And so during the summer break, because things are kind of inverted there, summer break there is really winter for us. I moved to Antigua, and it's a party city, and I just kind of lost myself.
What was your first drink back?
I was sitting at the Mono Loco, the crazy monkey, and I think I was just lonely and had no friends because I had just moved there recently. I was living in a bakery with an old woman, and her son ran the bakery, and they would wake up like at 4 o'clock. I lived in a shoebox, dude. It was like maybe less than 300 feet.
Yeah.
And I think I was just lonely and confused and bored.
And
not a lot to do.
You're like by the beach.
No, you're in a really nice.
There?
There is one probably about 2 hours away.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like a really antiquated, beautiful colonial city. So people are moving in and out all the time, and you can go do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I just was like, it's probably, I don't remember the day or what was going on, but I was just sitting at the bar, and it was like probably like 6 o'clock, and a single dude, 22, 23, with nothing to do on his hands. I had already worked out. I'd gone to classes for the day. I'm like, what else am I supposed to do right now?
Were you with your wife at this point?
No.
You met in college?
So we met in college. We met and we were dating. And when I went to Guatemala, at one point I had broken up with her because it's like, I don't know what I want to do with myself. So like, I'm done.
So you're single.
Yeah.
Moved to Antigua, and you're still doing service work.
And when I'm in Antigua, just going to class.
Okay.
So
for what?
For Spanish.
You're like, I'm going to go learn how to speak Spanish.
Full-time tutoring.
Okay.
It was like $300 a month.
Yeah.
To have one lady sit with me for 8 hours.
And you went by yourself?
Yeah, I was by myself, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
That's an adventure.
This is an adventure. So that was like 12 to 24, 22.
Yeah. And so then you're off the wagon.
Super.
And you moved back?
I moved back. Yeah, I got
to Dallas.
I moved back to New Jersey. I had a guy I knew in college who got me a job. He was doing a roll up in private equity. He was buying credit card processing companies.
Were your parents aware that you quit drinking and your life improved, and then you started again?
Yeah.
And
I was kind of hiding the drinking.
Okay, you're hiding it.
Yeah, it wasn't very apparent, but there was what is that thing you see on Instagram or TikTok? Is like, tell me you know something without telling me you know something.
Yeah,
it's very much so. It's like, and he's kind of acting manic again. He's a little fucking crazy. What's going on here? So
yeah, I speak about it a lot, and definitely on the last episode that came out, I was listening back, but I'm my greatest accountability mechanism because I talk about sobriety so much that when I have fallen off the wagon, just having to fucking explain it to everybody that I'm drinking again, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like, it's a good kind of reason to not start drinking again, to not have to deal with those awkward conversations. And people are looking at me like, yeah, I'm sure everything's fine. And they're like, oh shit. Like, what? Are you okay? Yeah. They don't, and they might not say it, but I know they're thinking it, and just avoiding that awkward shit is a good reason not to drink today.
Yeah. So anyway, no, my mom mostly was living in fear, I think, a lot for me. Just scared.
Yeah. Another commonality we have from our early 20s. So you picked up a job there. You're living at home. I
was living at home, and I was selling credit card processing door to door, doing business development in Manhattan and business development. I was a door to door sales guy. Yeah. If you had the thing you put your credit card in that looks like that, that's what I sold.
Like a point of sale system.
Yeah. I just sold those, and I sold ATM machines.
I think about those a lot. Like, I really appreciate a good one, you know?
Yeah,
like,
me too.
The really good ones, it's like, thank you. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
The shitty ones, like, why do I still have to hear like a dial-up modem and like and this receipt, and I have to sign it? Like, what's going on? It's 2025.
So you just tap it and it's done.
Yeah.
So
I see the value in selling a good POS system.
Sure. So I did that in
a POS, not a POS. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I did that in Brooklyn, Lower Manhattan, and in some areas in New Jersey. And this was when the chip was coming out. Remember, everybody was like freaking out about the chip. So I made good money. And then I moved to California for the company because they wanted to acquire more, and they were going more digital. They're like, hey, this whole beat down the door, feet on the street model is not really working because the world is just technologically advancing so fast. Like, door to door is not, you're going to get blown out of water. So we started doing more software integrations. Yeah. So like, if your guy came in here to repair your HVAC system and he's doing the write up on his iPad, and then he can swipe, like, we were doing a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and then when I was in New Jersey though, doing the door to door stuff, I got back on the wagon.
Okay.
And then when out there, I got off the wagon.
Okay.
And the wagon got real fucking rough. So
they say in rehab that, and AA maybe, like, I've just heard it a lot, that when you relapse, like 90% of the time you're going to come back worse than you were when you quit the time before that.
1000%. I cannot emphasize that anymore. I went in and out ward probably 12 times.
And it just got
whipsawing. It just got fucking worse every time, dude. Fucking worse. Like, if I go out today, I'm going to die.
Yeah, because you can get that mentality. The last time I've relapsed, it wasn't as. I've had 3 relapses since my journey began. Mm-hmm. The first one was by far the worst. The second one wasn't so bad. Third one, night 1 was really bad, but then I drank for a couple more weeks and it was fine. Like, I kind of dialed it back. Yeah. So I've had kind of 3 different experiences with it, but it's definitely like playing Russian roulette.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and then what finally led to? Did that lead to?
My wife and I got married, so I got let go of a job.
Were you drinking when you got married?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and she's with me the entire time. We got back together after I moved back to the U.S. And I'm in and out, all this bullshit. And I got let go of a job in April 17. And didn't work all of the rest of 17. I'd saved enough money, and then I got let go. And we got married in August of 17. We went to Italy for 3 weeks on our honeymoon. Because I was like, hey, I have some money. I have time. Let's just go.
Yeah.
And I had gotten a job in San Francisco. And we were supposed to move there. But then they're like, dude, this guy's a drunk. Don't bring him out here. Like, this kid's fucked up. So they let me go too. And I was like, well, if we're not going there, let's go to Italy. And she had quit her job for me to move out there. And she was like, I'm going to show up. I'll figure it out. And so we went to Italy. We came back. Well, lo and behold, when you got a lot of time on your hands, you just get married and you drink a little bit, you get pregnant a lot of times. And so that's what happened. We got pregnant with my oldest. And I was like, man, I got to really grow up. And so at that time, it was really bad. And I went to a guy who was kind of in my life at that time. He's a family friend of my in-laws, big sober guy, a lot of kids, high-powered sales guy, very successful, pre-sobriety, then drugs and alcohol brought him to his knees. He got sober, and now he's built himself back up. So I went to him, and I'm like, hey, dude, like, I'm ready now. Like, I either want to kill myself or let's do it. It's like, because what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? And he's like, okay, let's go to a meeting. I think you're ready now. Because he was always one of those guys who was like, you're not ready. Go back out. Go have some more fun. I can just tell. Like, come back. You're like me. Just go let the leash out a little more.
Were you one of those guys like, yeah, well, I'm just going to, drink when I play poker with my friends or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's so many people that call me about so I'm thinking about quitting drinking, but yeah, I mean, I just have a 12-pack when I play poker on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And so
I was one of those
guys.
I
might just do that.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Yeah.
God bless.
Not ready.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So that was kind of
no judgment, by the way.
Don't care, really.
Enjoy it. I wish I was still there sometimes, like not ready, but not really.
Yeah, I wish I was. I don't wish this, but the thought of having a drink and that's it is nice.
Yeah,
it's not possible though.
I've tried it. Well, I'll tell you what, it is possible for me to do that, not consistently forever, but I can go out. The last time I fell off the wagon, one night I got real fucked up, but 2 more weeks, I just had like a couple of glasses of wine with dinner and I went to bed and it was fine.
Yeah.
I can do it, but it is hard and it's not fun and it's fucking annoying.
Dude.
And it's like, well, fuck, I'm not going to allow myself a third glass of wine because I'm proving this point. It's so difficult. It's so much easier to just not drink.
Yeah.
I like non-alcoholic beer.
I can't do that, dude. That's like, it's such a tease. I tried it for a bit and no judgment. Not at all. Like, but like for me, it's just like, for me, it's like dipping. It's like, just fucking smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
Just do it. Or like the Zins. Like I might as well just put it in the lip. Like what? And so,
I know, that is definitely for certain people like me. I can handle it.
Yeah.
Like I know plenty of people who are like non-alcoholic beers for non-alcoholics. One of my friends told me that.
I don't know what does that mean?
It means like if you're an alcoholic, don't drink non-alcoholic beer.
Okay.
It's for people that are not alcoholic. But for me, it's never been a problem. That's not what caused me to relapse. But
spirituality, the lack of it.
My girlfriend is sober, and she and I just went to Cancun, and I've like a virgin frozen margarita, and they were pretty good there. She's like, I'm not fucking trying that. Like, I'm too scared. Like, if I have that, it might make me want to have a regular one. It's like, I get it.
Yeah. Teach your own. Hey, as long as your life is, if you think your life's unmanageable and you're irritable and discontent, maybe you should explore a program.
Yeah.
But like short of that, live your life, have fun, you know, no judgment. And so, but I am that guy. It's funny. Our Joey, our COO, he's like, I hate going out with you, Will, because you just start egging everybody on to drink more. Because Ward, I'll have a birthday party for like my kids. I've stopped hosting them because people will come over with like a 6-pack or some leftover beer, and then they leave my house standing up. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get drunk. Get jacked up. That's fun. What's wrong with you? It doesn't compute in my head that like you can't just have a couple of beers and then leave my house standing up like that.
People don't invite me to dinner anymore. I make them feel guilty. It's like, oh, really? You're going to do that? Do you need an espresso martini? You remember that you just had one.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm like,
no.
go ahead, have another one.
I'm not. I like silently just judge people about their drinking, and I'm just kidding. Like,
You dick.
I tell people, like, my definition of an alcoholic is like, if you get drunk on a regular basis, you're a fucking alcoholic, whether your life's unmanageable or not. Like, you're an idiot. And if you black out once a year, you're a fucking alcoholic in my mind. Like, cause you could die that night.
Sure.
And if you drink 2 bottles of wine every night, and even if you have your life, quote, in quotes, together, then you know what? You're an alcoholic, because that's fucking horrible for you. And it's horrible for your body. It's horrible for your sleep. And it might not be quite obvious, and your life might not be falling apart, and you might still hit your workouts and do all of these things, but you're also drinking poison every night. Yeah. And so I'm not like a total like prohibitionist or something, and it's fine. But you know, they're just these levels, they're all different levels. But I think they're all unhealthy unless you're maybe the type of person that has a couple of glasses of wine like once or twice a week. And then if you study Buddhism, which I do, I'm a Christian, but I also love to read about Buddhism, you know. I just read this book, and it said, if you're the type of person that drinks 1 glass of wine a week, sure, you're healthy, but the Buddha recommends to not drink at all in honor of the lives that it destroys in other households.
That's interesting.
I like that too. Yeah. So, but all that being said, I get it. Like, if you can go do it, go do it. And I'm not really judging unless you're like acting a fool in front of me.
Sure.
And then if you are, I'm not going to go lecture you, but I have laser beams that pop out of my eyes, and you're going to fucking know that it's like, I don't like hanging out with people who act like fucking idiots anymore. It's just like, don't waste my fucking time.
I have not many friends anymore.
I'm your friend.
You are my friend.
We're friends of Bill.
We are friends. But it's like, my wife's my friend. I love my children. My children are my children. And I do my work. And Jeremy's my best friend. My siblings.
I love Jeremy, man.
Dude, he's been
what a great little situation.
Yeah.
So you had your firstborn.
Yeah, I had my first.
You got your mentor, and you got your shit together.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I got to get a job. So I moved here. I moved back to Dallas. So I graduated in 2015 from UD. And then December 4th of 17, I got a job at Liberty Mutual in the call center there.
Cool.
And because that's the only job I could get. I didn't have to. It's just, hey, they were taking. If you had a heartbeat and you can kind of talk to somebody, they're like, get in the fucking door. Yeah. So my job award was, do you know the commercials on TV? If you want to call in and get an auto quote, you can just call in that 1-800 number. And I was one of like 600 people in their call center. Okay. And so I did that 6 days a week, like 8 to 10 hours a day for about a year.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It was on. So here's my life. I get here. I start December 4th. Broke as shit. Like, no more money. I got enough money to do security deposit, first month's rent, and I'm banking that I pass my insurance licensing, and I start getting on the phones in January.
And you're married and your wife's pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she's doing customer service in the insurance business too. She's an artist. She paints all day. That's all she wants to do. She's like, I want to have kids. I want to paint shit.
Yeah.
I'm not here fucking answering the phone about adjusters and all this bullshit, but I'm going to do it because you're fucked up and I have to do this. But this is temporary. So it was like very apparent, like, you're going to go out there, you can kick ass and take names and come back here, and I don't have to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
So she was a good trooper about it. But I lived on McKinnon Street, McKinnon and Wolf in Uptown. Yeah. And there's a bus there, the 208, the DART bus. I'd walk out of my apartments. I walk down the street. I get on the bus. I'd ride the bus all the way to Frisco every morning. I couldn't afford another car. So I rode the bus all the way to the Liberty Mutual call center, got off the bus. I take it like at 7 a.m. I get there by like 7:45, start my shift at 8, packed lunch every morning, bang the phones for 10 hours, get on the bus, come home, walk to the Y off of Ackerd, work out, sweat my ass off, walk home, have dinner with my wife, shower, go to sleep, repeat. And you know this as a young alcoholic man, just getting into recovery, that is a dream. Because you're just like laser beam. I just do this.
Idle hands.
Like I went to meetings like 4 days a week, and I just boom, boom, boom. So it's super cathartic.
Yeah.
And it was like amazing. But dude, I was making like fucking maybe $60,000 that year. And it was like, it was a struggle. And I had a lot of debt. And I'm like, I can't do this. So I got a phone call, and this is how I got into the real estate business. Was I got a phone call one day from a recruiter off of LinkedIn, and she was like, "Hey, I have a requirement for a real estate company that owns an insurance business, and they're looking for a salesperson, and you kind of meet their qualifications. Younger individual, limited experience, but really hungry." And I went to go interview, and it was at Holt Lunsford Commercial.
Wow. That's
It's
awesome.
just total random. I saw something on the messaging board. Somebody called me, and I said, the first question I had was, what's the salary, if there is, what's the salary range or the draw? And I was at Liberty, I think my salary was like $28,000. And at Holt, it was less than double that, but it was good. It's much more. Yeah. And I was like, they're like, oh yeah.
In.
And I was like, literally fucking in. Like, can I interview tomorrow? And so I had taken the job before they even gave me the job.
Yeah.
I walked into Scott Moore's office, and he had a picture of Pope John Paul II on the wall. And I was like, boom. Like, when you're in sales, you're like walking into a room, and you're doing door-to-door stuff. You're like, I need to find something very quickly to latch onto this person and create some commonality and create a conversation and kind of lower the pressure of me trying to come in here and pitch you on something.
Say, Scott, does the Pope shit in the woods?
I looked at him, I was like, oh, do you know, are you Catholic? He's like, no, actually, he's Byzantine or Orthodox. And so that just lowered the pressure of the entire situation. And I was like, oh, I grew up Catholic, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, all the entire time, I'm still going to mass and stuff through all this. But, not the best practicing Catholic. But so that's how I got the Holt. He gave me the job. I told him, I was like, hey, man, like, I'm in a rough spot. I work in a call center. Just had my first kid. Like, I really want to come and work here. Everybody's suited and booted every day. A lot of discipline out there.
Very disciplined.
Very disciplined. Shop. Yes. Yep. And my first day on the job, I'll never forget this. A tall, redheaded guy, probably 6'2" to 6'3", comes up the fire steps, the stairwell, into the office space. Door slams. I'm sitting here. They put me in the middle of the floor with all the brokers. Because you're like, you need to be an animal. You need to learn how to sell this insurance. And all these guys around here are going to give you referrals, and you're going to learn the real estate business so you can go sell insurance better. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go do that. So I sat in the middle. And first day, guy walks up the stairwell, slams the door, and I look to the right because it was kind of like loud door closing. And there's this tall guy. We lock eyes. And he says, oh, you must be Will Narduzzi. He walks up to me. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, we are so happy to have you here. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And then everybody's just like looking at me. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, why is everyone looking at me? Somebody come up to me. He's like, that's Holt Lunsford. Do you know him? I'm like, what do you mean? Who's Holt Lunsford? They're like, you work at Holt Lunsford Commercial. Do you know who Holt Lunsford is? I'm like, I have no idea. I was just here to sell insurance. Like, I had no idea, dude. I got up. I was like, what? So I knew nothing about commercial real estate, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing. So I sat outside I sat in between John Gorman and Andrew Gilbert.
Yeah.
And Harrison Putt sat on my left when he came in, like about 4 months later. Matty Canty sat over there. Yeah. And then I was in front of Cannon, Josh, John, and Andrew Gilbert.
Yeah.
And then Jim Bryce was at the end of the hall.
And what year is that? 17?
18.
18?
18. So just right when stuff is really starting to pump.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And dude, it was an amazing environment.
Yeah.
So Ben Wallace was there.
Yeah.
So the young crew is for a period of time was me, Matty, Ben, and then Putt joined. Then Bo Puckett came, Blake Triani. Who else was on the desk? And Keaton Bryce came at one point. It was just really fun, man. It was a great environment to be in with all those young people. And then studs. You've done deals with, I'm sure, many of those guys.
Yeah. Most of them.
Most of them. And to see Jim be like, come in here, learn this. Let me just dump my wisdom into you. And then because where I was at in the company, I was pretty privileged to see to interact with the C-suite pretty much daily. And so my boss was Scott Moore, the COO. And then I probably talked to Holt directly with Scott, probably 2 to 3 times annually to kind of review like what's going on with I ran the division.
Yeah.
So it was just me. They had somebody there prior. She'd done a good job, but really wasn't a true salesperson. She was very good technically.
Yeah.
For like a good underwriter role. But they're like, Holt said when I went to go have a meeting with him the first, call it 90 days I was there. He's like, I think he said something, I might be paraphrasing, I might fuck it all up, but basically I needed a young man who's going to stand in the cold north wind with no shirt on. And that's you. And I was like, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, I'm going to go do it. He's like, wear your tie though. You know?
Yeah.
So that's how I started, man. And I just talked to a lot of guys who looked like me now. Deal guys or guys who ran deal shops. And those were customers of the firm too.
Yeah.
And so I would piggyback off of pitches and sitting there and, they marched the whole Legion in, suited and booted. We're going to go pitch this guy because he's buying, Heinz is buying Inwood Trade Center. Like that's trading right now again. And I'll never forget when that traded. That caused like pandemonium.
Like Vantage owned it?
Vantage owned it and they sold it to Heinz.
Okay.
Now Heinz is selling it to somebody else. I don't know who.
Oh yeah.
But like when that,
like right now,
really? Yes, live.
That's interesting.
It might have already occurred.
What kind of cap rate does that trade for?
Probably in the 5s.
Yeah.
Maybe low 6s.
That's a great little building. In my mind, it is. I started working in Brook Hollow, and so that was a really nice building down there back then.
Well, Jeremy probably still reps 20% of that park.
Yeah, he does.
So, but it's just got to see all that, how the machine worked.
Yeah.
And then Hull had an unbelievable development. It still does, has an unbelievable development company. So they would pull me into stuff like, hey, how do we? And meanwhile, I sold home and auto insurance. I didn't know anything about commercial insurance. So I'm really learning commercial real estate and learning commercial insurance by a fire hose.
Yeah.
And
they're putting a lot of trust and responsibility on you because you're kind of the guy that's doing this.
Yes.
Yeah, but they didn't want somebody that already had their own way of doing things. They just wanted it to be done the whole way and train you ground up.
Correct.
I'm in that place right now with hiring. I just find that my best hires have been straight out of college that can just be trained on my approach to doing things versus someone that's already been living life for 10 years and doing things another way,
Yeah. So they just literally molded me into who I am professionally.
That's an amazing place to get molded.
Yeah. And so like we recently had a board meeting, Jeremy and I, with our joint venture partner who provides a lot of equity to us. And prepping for the meeting, I'm like, dude, this thing's a mess. Like our agenda and like all the documents and like, he's like, no.
What would Holt Lunsford do?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, no, we gotta be like precision. The thing's gotta line up. It's gotta be in order. The documents after the agenda have got to tie out to this. And he's like, dude, take a deep breath. It's okay. Like, this is not gonna be that intense. I'm like, you have no idea what's coming in through that door right now. So because just the whole training kicked in.
Yeah.
He appreciates it.
So did he
appreciates
modify the presentation?
Some, yes. Yeah.
And were you right? Was it
it was less intense, much less intense than I thought it was going to be. More intense than I think he thought.
But you were prepared to fail or fail to prepare to fail? That's what
basically,
it is? There you go.
Because, Holt asked a lot of tough questions when you were with him.
Yeah. He's looking at every angle that someone could possibly think about before he walks into a room.
Yeah. And he's asking you questions like, so tell me why. And you're like, I didn't think about that. That's an easy question. I should have the answer to that. And Scott's kind of the same way too. Tell me why about that. Why is it like that? Have you thought of it this way? There's a lot of probing, which is good.
I like that. In my presentations, I've been, it's constantly evolving, but basic goal of presentations and even servicing clients is to be one step ahead of them, so that whenever if I'm in the middle of a presentation, like, well, what about this? Oh, we're getting to that in the order that we put this in, and trust me, this is going to flow and make sense. And I mean, rarely I fail in the presentation if someone's asking a question that I haven't already addressed in the deck at some point that's coming up. It's like, this is coming down the pipe, and it's going to explain everything you could possibly have to explain about this.
Exactly.
And then you're done. Once you can do that, you're just prepared. The anxiety goes away.
Exactly.
And you're ready to rock.
Yeah. And I learned while being there, these guys the young guys would be anxious because they hadn't had the reps.
Right.
But like guys like Cannon and John and Andrew and Josh, like Matt Carthy, they knew Jim. They know their information cold already because they're in the market for so long. But then the preparedness that they'd have was so complete that you'd have to be a savant to really come up with something that was not nuanced. That was more nuanced than what they had already given you.
Yeah.
Also, like, dude, they're fucking 4 walls and a roof. This is what we do. There's complexity to it.
The cold calling training that I do is the same way, where I just made a list of, here's every single objection that there will ever be, right? I mean, it's a standard thing in cold calling training. And it was fun to think of that. And I don't think it's ever gone outside of what our training manual says. It's going to be one of these things. And here's 5 responses to that, like depending on the vibe of the person.
Yeah.
And then you just know.
So it was what an incredible way to really start my career. Because by that time I was like 26.
Yeah.
25, 26, somewhere in there. You know, and getting sober, I had a lot of anxiety. I had like buddies who were working at Goldman, and they're like, man, they're making money. Like, they're starting to make like good money. And I'm like, dude, I'm still, because then when I went to Holt, I just lived off the base for a while. That was it.
Yeah. Because
you're starting over again, and it snowballed, and COVID helped a ton. Like, because industrial just went up like a hockey stick, and but it was just a lot of anxiety. So I went to, my first probably 2 years at Holt, I went to a meeting probably like 3 to 6 times a week.
Yeah. Lots
of meetings. It just didn't feel like I fit in. I'm not from here. I don't know anything. What's going on? A lot of pressure. I'm broke. You know, and so finally worked at Stabs, had a great sponsor, still my sponsor today. Yeah. And that's how I met Jeremy. Is
working at Holt.
Yeah, Putt went to go work at Mercer, Harrison Putt, and he was like, "Hey, Jeremy and Jeff own a lot of stuff. You know the Mercer brothers as well as anybody does.
Yeah,
you know, they do things their own way, and and they hire and fire like their vendors constantly. And Putt was just like, come down here. Like, I think you can honestly help them.
Jeff fired me, you know.
Yes, I heard that. I didn't know that until I think
only person who's ever fired me.
It's so, and that's how I just cold called Jeremy until I realized at some point in 22, I was like, I don't want to be an insurance guy anymore.
Yeah.
And so in late 21, early 22, and so the time came right, and then we just kind of joined forces.
3 years later, here you are.
Yeah.
And you guys have been on a run.
Yeah, good run. It's been good. The market's been good to us. We're pretty picky. I don't know. You do the next right thing, and you just don't get over leveraged, and you don't bite off more than you can chew.
So what's your sobriety date?
October 20. My wife says it's the 22nd of October, but I think it's the 23rd.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there of 17.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You inspire me.
Dude, but
you're always there for me.
Yeah. It's like, thank you.
You reached out to me like, hey, I'm sober too. And like, if you ever need anything, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't remember doing that, but that's good. I did that.
You did in my mind, at least.
I probably did. I
knew you were sober, and we've never hung out before, and it's not like you post about it. Like,
I try not. It's a weird thing because like some people are like, "Man, you got to remain anonymous." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the alcoholic is out there. The drug addict's out there. They need to know that like guys like you and me are successful, We've got kids.
And then what they're doing is not some like thing that no one else has done before.
Correct.
That's the key for me telling my story as much as I do, because someone told me their story, their fucked up story, and I heard it. I was like, whoa, A, I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. And B, there's this other side to this story that's possible. Yeah. And that's both of those things are equally important to know, because the other side of drinking and becoming sober, that can seem like, yeah, you quit drinking, but you don't know how I got on the fucking roof of the double wide, bro. Yeah. Got arrested. Like, yeah. And you go to an AA meeting, they're like, ha, you got on the roof of the double wide, little boy. Let me tell you about this time I did this. It's like, whoa.
Hold my beer.
But yeah, there's just, it becomes no judgment of self or others once you get in that world. And I'm a big believer in telling my story to as many people who will listen to help others, let them know you're not alone. You can get to the other side. And then also, as I record myself telling the story over and over, I have this great accountability mechanism for myself. So like, hey, go listen back to yourself talking about how great sobriety is if I happen to fall off the wagon again. Or something, and then not having, and then I remember I'm gonna have to explain it. Like that's a big thing, because that sucks explaining why you started drinking again to people that care about you.
But it's it's a day at a time, man. You said that in your last episode. Like, it's one day at a time. There's no set limit. People are like, oh, would you ever drink again? I don't know, but today I'm not.
Yeah, for sure.
Today I'm not. Yeah. And then there's shit that goes on I mean, look, we're not perfect at all. I'm by no means perfect. I still yell. I still scream. I'm still a dick. Try not to be less.
Do you fight?
Yes, I fight all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, look how jacked up I am in this chair. Yeah. I'm like, fucking ready to get out of here.
Punch people.
But you try to do the next right thing, and sometimes, dude, it's hour by hour. I bet even in the last 18 months, it's been like that in my life some days.
Yeah, for sure.
You're just like,
yeah, man. When I was just in Mexico drinking that virgin margarita, don't think it didn't cross my mind at an all-inclusive resort. What if I just say margarita these Mexican guys barely speak English that are bartending. I'm like, what if I just mumble it? Then it won't be my fault. I said it. He didn't hear me. Virgin margarita?
Yeah.
But
you're there with your girlfriend.
That's how much I'm thinking, like, about these little decisions minute by minute. And like, no, don't.
But this shit is our fucking superpower, dude. Being determined to avoid, like what you just articulated. Most people don't understand that. They're not moving at that level of detailedness and like thinking through how this affects me, how it doesn't. Oh, if I say it this way, will that guy actually think I said it in another way, right? Like, in my experience, I can resound with that because I've done shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's a fucking superpower, dude. It's a superpower to harness the energy and the dedication to be involved with all this chaos. If you can get out of the chaos and then point in the right direction, like our careers and our families, like, there's some fucking savages out there. And so
it's like martial arts is the way I think about it. And I'm not good at martial arts, like in the traditional sense, but in the spiritual sense, I'm getting better and better each day. But I envision myself as like this ninja, this Japanese samurai that's like going through life and like chaos, chaos, fuck you, bam, bye, later. And then it's like, yeah, don't fuck with me. Like, don't do it. And then when I have that mentality a lot of times, and especially if I'm like at a dinner where there's a lot of drinking going on, and I'm just sitting there, and then right when that person starts telling me, blah, 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 and I just kind of look at him like, you know who you're fucking with? I'm a fucking samurai Zen master, motherfucker. Like, don't act like that. Yeah. It's not becoming.
Yeah.
And they feel it. And that's just like my way of being. So.
Yeah. No, it's to each their own. I mean, it's a superpower. It's what keeps us trucking on.
Yeah, baby.
Honestly, I was thinking about that coming here, and I was just like, the rooms in sobriety keeps me trucking on. Like I can't be a good employee, can't be a good dad, can't be a good spouse. We all still fuck up though. I mean,
For sure.
I'm not anyway near perfect.
Yeah.
But
It's like yoga too, in that you can't ever master yoga, nor martial arts for that matter. You just keep trying each day to improve, and some days you fall backwards, but you get back on and you keep going. But there's no finish line. It's just an art that you practice, and it's never perfect, and there's no way to you can't master it. It's just how you're trying in that moment, but it does get easier.
Yeah.
I think with practice, and you build those muscles up so that when unexpected things happen, they might knock you over, but you're more resilient than you would have been. So, what's the greatest obstacle you've overcome?
Oh, you make me cry. Is there crying allowed here?
Yeah, everything's allowed on Truckin.
My wife miscarried twice in 2 months, pretty late. Burying a kid's not fun.
Oh,
it's tough. So I had to do that last June. That's probably the toughest thing I've had to overcome. I still live with it.
So sorry.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
twice.
We had first baby was June of 23, June 1st, and then Jude was last year, June 1st of 24.
Oh gosh.
So full delivery at Presby, the whole deal.
Really?
So yeah, about halfway through. So that was tough. That's terrible. Same time, I actually had a similar situation happen. I put some money with a guy. The thing with sobriety is we're constantly fighting our own ego, right?
Yeah.
We are our worst enemy.
For sure.
And so when I was a whole, I started making some really good money. And I thought I could be cool and invest in alternatives and all this shit. And so did. Well, it ended up being, years later, it ends up being a Ponzi scheme. And there was a lot of warning signs in it. And I was like, nah, I know fucking better. This is what I do now. Blah, 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 blah. You fucking people can't tell me this shit, And so Jude passed, M delivers, and I'm going through financial turmoil pretty much. That's just brought me to my knees. And
from investing.
So I had a large sum of money sucked out of me because I can't go and get it. There's cash, those distributions coming from it as well. And, we've constantly got obligations at work to invest and do stuff. And, you just get totally pulverized. So, end up in lawsuits. And the only way to get out of that component is you just work your ass off.
Yeah.
And time.
Yeah.
Time's really the ultimate in both situations. So facing that head on, June of last year was really tough. I took probably about 3 weeks off in July.
Yeah.
And just escaped to New Jersey. And
smart.
Yeah, well, it's good to work with a guy like Jeremy who's just like,
go do what you need to do.
Go do it. Yeah. Yeah. There's no better way to say it. So, and I didn't struggle. I struggled with sobriety during that.
Yeah.
I'd be amiss in lying if I said I go to tons of meetings now and I'm fine now.
Yeah.
So, it's tough, dude.
Yeah, man. And then you learned the lesson from that, because I've gone down that road too. Day trading stocks, crypto, blah, blah, blah. And I've just flushed so much money down the toilet doing that. But even worse than that is the time flushed down the toilet trying for me to mind control these investments that I have absolutely no control over, and the amount of time per day that I would spend doing that versus what I'm good at doing and proven successful year after year, which is being an industrial real estate broker. And if I poured the amount of just time, take money out of the equation that I put into watching crypto and watching the stock market and just put that into doing my actual job, like
incredible results,
the money would 10x. Yeah. Grant Cardone pointed that out to me when I got to work with him a little bit. And he's like, dude, just think about the time you spend looking at it. And now I give the money. I invest in deals and stuff,
sure.
like real estate deals that I
participate in some of our deals.
Yeah. That I understand, which I didn't understand that you guys could 1031 a Cantrell deal.
Yes.
I didn't understand that because I didn't read the fine print. Probably would not have done it if there was 1031. These 1031s that I'm not in control of. It's not the only deal that this has come up on. But real estate deals in general, if I look at it and I understand the real estate, like I believe in this, I will invest in this, then I have peace of mind because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But in general, I give most of my money to my Merrill Lynch guy. And he puts it in, is pretty conservative with it and puts it, and I don't look at it. If I think the economy is going to crash like I do now, I text him yesterday. I was like, will you move me to ultra conservative, my 401k and my pension and all this? And then he's like, you can't time the market, Ward. And I'm like, whatever, you're right. Like you just be in charge of it. And I'm not getting involved in it. It's still, but learning that lesson and then just you become more discerning about how you invest your money. And that's part of the journey.
It is
you got to fuck up to learn. At least when you're me.
I'm not too far off from you. I got to learn to fuck up a little bit. And it's ego too. It's a lot of ego.
For sure.
It's mostly ego.
I would invest in trucking companies like my clients and like, oh, I love the CEO. He's great. He's going to do great things. So I'm going to go invest in, I've invested in Yellow Trucking, right? Yeah, Yellow Freight, because I love the CEO. And like, they're yellow. They've been around forever. Surely they're going to turn around. But I don't understand the complexities of the Teamsters and the impact that has on their debt and their cash balance and all of this, which inevitably bankrupted them and their history. Yeah. And I thought I was buying a penny stock at like $4 for yellow stock, like, oh, it's going to go up to 12 again. Yeah. And when COVID happened, it dropped to 50 cents.
Oh my gosh.
And I sold it. And then Donald Trump gave them like $1 billion. And then it went to 12 after I sold it, of course. And I watch all of this and just like puking my brains out.
Yeah.
And then call up Mark McMahon at Merrill Lynch. Like, dude, you're in charge from now on. I'm not playing the stock market.
Yeah.
Because that ain't my deal.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a mystical experience?
I don't know, like one specific thing in particular, but I've had many small ones, mostly due to surrounding myself with good people. And I have mystical experiences when I go to meetings because 90% of the time I walk in and whatever is fucked up in my life or if there's friction going on in my life, I walk in, most of the time, the topic of the day is exactly what I need to hear. I find that to be a mystical experience because I'm usually late. I never am the leader ever. I think I've led one meeting in my entire sobriety.
Me too.
The majority of the time I am fucking late. Like 2 to 3 minutes. So I don't get the opening prayer. I'm coming in hot right out of the office, bull in a china shop, and I sit down and it's like, oh, today we're talking about X. And you're like, oh, wow, I need to hear that.
Yeah.
I've had experiences where I've been like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. Oh, my first kid, I had a hospital bill. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I file my taxes on time like a good normal human. The refund was exactly to the dollar I needed. But I think I have something like that occurs in my life every year.
Yeah.
Just to kind of be like, hey, man, God's looking at. He's like, look, motherfucker, I got you. Stop trying to play God.
Yeah.
So I haven't had like I think, sit there in a cornfield and listen to Led Zeppelin for the first time and be totally like I haven't had anything like that. I haven't had a moment, like a big moment.
Those small moments are so important, and to be aware of them and to give God credit for them.
Yeah.
I think is so important. And yeah, once you start paying attention and giving credit where credit's due, and then I think you start to see more and more of those little things, and they compile.
It happens all the time. That's what got me through last summer, dude. I'd go to a meeting because I was just like, I want to cry for no reason, or for good reasons.
Yeah.
It's emotional turmoil. And I could show up and their topic be about grieving or doing the next right thing.
Yeah.
Or taking care of yourself. A lot of reading how to Drop the Rock. That helped a lot.
Yeah.
So
Drop the Rock.
Have you heard that book?
No.
I'll give it to you. I got a copy in my house.
Cool. Moving to a lighter topic.
Sure. Sorry.
What's your no, don't apologize. Thank you for sharing all of that. And that's your resilience is powerful, brother.
Yeah.
And inspiring. What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh.
Is it in Italy?
Oh, do you want two? Okay, I'll give you two.
Yeah.
R&D Kitchen is my favorite place.
Okay.
I don't like really going anywhere else. If I need to get a steak, it's Albernays.
Okay.
I used to be a Nick and Sam's guy, but it's Al's. But R&D Kitchen is...
Have you been to Bob's?
Yes.
I like Bob's better.
Okay, we can fight.
I like Nick and Sam second.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Where's Al's?
I think third, probably.
But
I don't go there too often.
Okay.
If someone wants to go there, I'm happy to go there.
Sure.
But if I'm in charge and it's a steak, it's Bob's or Nick and Sam's. But that's not always in that order because sometimes I'm with people that would appreciate one vibe better than the other because they have the two different vibes.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Yeah, here is R&D Kitchen. Yeah, that's like go-to. Emma and I are going on a date. Where do you want to go tonight? Let's go to R&D Kitchen. Yeah, it's just, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You don't have to fuck around.
Yeah.
And then in Italy, it's Da Enzo in Rome. It's over in Trastevere.
I've never been to Italy.
Oh, dude.
I've heard so many people just talk about it.
It's amazing.
In life on this podcast, I swear, like 50% of the guests, like Italy, is one of their favorite spots. And that's my next question: is what's your favorite vacation destination?
It's there.
Yeah. Rome or
I love Rome because it's Rome's a really cool place. It's 2 million people. You can go fast, you can go slow, you can go in between. And so, in terms of pace of your day, and so you can wake up at 9 and go get a coffee and walk around and smoke a cigarette and see 2 museums and walk around and see everything you need and then have a great dinner and then go to bed.
Yeah.
And it's a very leisurely day. Or you can do a Manhattan feel and be like, bam, 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 and do a very packed itinerary.
Yeah.
Or you could just do nothing. Like Emily and I have done days where we sit in Trastevere at this coffee place we like, where Stanley Tucci's he loves it. And the name is escaping me right now. But like, we sat there for like 5 hours.
Yeah. And just taking it in.
Old men are out there playing card games.
Yeah.
We have like 3 or 4 cups of coffee, have a nice pastry. I read the news. She's kind of just watching.
Yeah.
And it's just very relaxing.
That's awesome.
Growing up, the ultimate for my family and I is Daytona Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Because my parents owned condos down there growing up.
Yeah.
And we would go, all of us siblings. My parents, they couldn't afford anything that was bigger than, and my mom inherited it and had some problems, but it was a 1-bedroom place, like call it maybe 700 square feet, all 6 kids. And my parents, we'd all stay there together. And it was right on the beach. And it was like building, pool, then the beach. And like my best memories growing up was that place.
Yeah.
So awesome. So
That's great.
Yeah. Those are my two.
I bet it was fun.
So much fun. So
what's a book you recommend?
Right now I'm reading Say Nothing by Patrick, I forget his name. He wrote Empire of Pain. I don't know if you've read that. Hold on, let me pull it up. Empire of Pain. I'm reading, it's Patrick Radin Keefe. So Say Nothing, it's about the conflict between the British and the IRA
Okay.
during the 70s.
Yeah.
And that's been very interesting. But a book I would recommend right now is probably Empire of Pain,
Okay.
which details Purdue Pharma
Okay.
and what they did to our country
Oh, yeah.
in a very detailed 500-page.
Horrible.
And, you know, you want to talk about like generational trauma and things we learned from our parents and very like deep. That book starts in the early 1900s.
Really?
The story of what occurred that manifested itself in the ugliest fucking form in the early 2000s started with people moving to our country in the late 1800s, early 1900s with that family.
Really?
Yes. Talking about multiple generations of trauma and insecurities and greed, jealousy, all of it.
Yeah.
So that I really would recommend that book.
Do you have alcoholism in your family?
Yeah. A significant amount.
Yeah.
On my mom's side specifically, yeah.
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 Same on my mom's side.
My mom's side.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that too.
Yeah.
That it does go down from generation to generation, and there's a lot of that you can inherit.
Yeah, my parents are
Genetically.
staunch Catholics. I mean, my mom goes to daily mass, prays the rosary, very devout woman. Even growing up, if you caught her having a glass of wine twice a year, was like, whoa, you get a little wild here, Marianne. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And my dad's just your classic, Northeast Ohio guy. He's lived in New Jersey now most of his life, but he'll have a beer or two here and there, and watching a football game and open up a Heineken, and and then he's out there grilling. He'll have another beer and then another one at dinner, and that's it. Normal, like normie stuff.
I wouldn't judge that.
No,
Yeah.
that seems fun.
Totally.
But
My dad's pretty similar.
yeah, there, but it's funny. You look back, and so I asked him like, what was your dad like? And because where did this itch come from?
Yeah.
So my mom's mom, terrible abuse issues.
Really?
Yeah, substance abuse issues in her later life, which is really shocking.
Yeah.
Like after 70,
Yeah.
it all came off. My mom's dad, nothing. Great guy, loved to work. Probably he was a workaholic.
Yeah.
And then my dad's parents, my Nona, she's still alive. She's 91. I don't think I've ever seen her drink.
Yeah.
Ever. Little, like classic little North Jersey Italian woman, all of 5'3", lived in the kitchen, lived for her family. Never seen her drink. My grandfather didn't know he died before I was born, but he was the head coach at Youngstown State for the football team, larger than life personality. And my dad, I think his memories of him are dwindling with age. And so I've asked recently, like, hey, he said, man, I can't really remember. He's like, I know he enjoyed it, but I don't think he was a drunk.
He died young though. Huh?
Died at 51 of Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was actually the defensive coordinator at the time when he passed at Columbia.
Really?
That's how he ended up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So he was at Youngstown State. Something happened with his contract. I think they either terminated it or they non-renewed him.
What year was that?
Bill Sr. Bill, my dad's dad, he died in either 88 or 89. I was born in 92.
Yeah.
So they did something with his contract, and they didn't keep him at Youngstown State.
Yeah.
A lot of trauma there. Like, I don't really know all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
And so he got one of his guys that he coached while at Youngstown State ended up at Columbia, and he hired him because he's like, hey, man, we have a great cancer center here. Come work for me. Be my defensive coordinator. Have an opening. So he packed up everybody to Teaneck, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And they all moved there. And so Pat, who's at Pitt now, who's the head coach at the University of Pittsburgh, he then transferred from Youngstown State to Rhode Island. The other brother my dad has, Brad, he's an artist in Austin. He transferred to Columbia from, I think, Akron or Youngstown State. My dad had just graduated.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of like, I need to stabilize this and take care of everybody.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know. I don't know if that, I don't know where that kind of came from. But my mom's got, dude, her whole side of the family is.
Really?
Dude, wild people.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Super fun. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, like tons of fun.
Yeah.
Wild people.
Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Oh, yeah. We've got that, and really both sides of my family have like, you know, a lot of that. We have good times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what about a quote?
I said it earlier, nothing changes if nothing changes.
I love that.
I just, you know, I brought that to Matador, and Jeremy says it now, because it's like we're stuck on something, regardless of whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we keep on doing the same thing and it's not changing. So maybe we need to change something.
Is there a charity or cause that you're passionate about?
24-Hour Club down in off of Ross.
Is that, know that? No, I don't.
That's a place for primarily homeless people to go when they're suffering from addiction and drugs and alcohol abuse. It's free primarily. You show up, if they got a bed, they'll take you in, and as long as you don't need to go to detox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never went to rehab, so
yeah.
I never had to do that. Probably should have, but it's a really great place. A lot of people here in Dallas, prominent in our business, have donated to it and put a lot of time and money and energy into that place. And so that's a place that I really, my wife and I have donated to. I wish I had more time to spend giving to it, and more money. I'm at a place now where it's like there's more straws in my bank account sucking out, but like that is a place that's very near and dear to us. And when we do have the resources, we do donate. So
that's awesome.
You should go, man. It's an incredible place. You want to talk about like people that, man, I just got done smoking crack out behind the dumpster about 12 hours ago. And you're like, holy shit. Like,
dude, the last meeting I went to, the guy in the meeting, it's like he quit drinking in October of last year, and the meeting was in November, so he was about 1 month sober.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. But when I got off the plane, I did buy 5 grams of cocaine and 5 grams of ketamine. He's holding the meeting. But he was like, it's like, yeah, it doesn't have a negative effect on me, just the alcohol did.
Holy shit.
We're all sitting there like, okay.
Hey, brother, come on over here. Sit down a little longer. But no, that's a place that we love. And coupled with that is Magdalene's house. It's a women's place.
Yeah, I actually contribute to Magdalene's house and had a friend that saved her life.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, dude. Will, Nardizzle.
Yeah.
Narduzzi, I love you, man.
I love you too,
Thanks for joining me today. How do people track you down if they want to get a hold of you?
Phone number is widely all over the internet, but you can shoot me an email at will@matador.net. I'm on socials at wdoozer92. And then, I don't know, social or LinkedIn, I'll respond. I'm addicted to my phone and addicted to the game. So
hell yeah, you are. Thanks for trucking on.
Thanks, Ward.
Peace.